Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, dear devotees. This is the fourth part of our talk on the organization of gods. As I mentioned that this is the 125th year of the Ramakrishna mission and the Ramakrishna mott, and almost all the centers, why almost all the centers of the Ramakrishna Modern Mission and the followers of the Ramakrishna Modern Mission, they are celebrating this 125th year. So we are also celebrating in this way by giving a series of talks over here in the home of harmony, and we started it in different months. Once the second Saturday of every month we come over here and we give the talk. Today is the fourth one. We started with that, where from this name, why I chose this name, the organization of gods. As because in long back in the India, from Lucknow, I went to the Ayodhya, the birthplace of Sri Rama. There, a monk, the traditional monk of the Ramayat Sampradaya, when I met him, he mentioned that we consider the Ramakrishna mission not only just ordinary monks, they are that is the organization of gods. We consider each and every one of them as pure as God. So I understood how they look at us, how they consider. So that is the responsibility of the Ramakrishna mission monks and the Sarda mission nuns. And then we went to find out when this Hindu monastic organization started, searching from the Vedic age. And in Vedic age, there, of course, as the society was divided into four parts, the Brahmacharya, Garhastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa. The same way that sannyasa was there, but that sannyasa was the last part of the life. But the sannyasa that we consider nowadays, when it came, and not very deeply, but we found that maybe it is not very clear, at the time of Lord Buddha, that is 2500 years before, it started, because Lord Buddha saw a monk and then he was inspired to become a monk. Then Lord Buddha left the hearth and home and he took the sannyasa under the guidance of another sannyasi. Like that, the whole life of Lord Buddha, the sannyasa. Even in the monastic lives of the Christians, there is also the Jesus, and much after Jesus. Recluses were there, but not actually the life of the monks, taking the vows of the monastic life, etc. Then after that we came to Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, and 1836 he came, and then slowly he started developing an organization. Why? To fight against the falsehood. This falsehood everywhere. And people are so much attached to this body, the physical comfort and all these things. So we have to understand the real meaning of the spirituality. It is going back to the source. And why we should do that? Because we all want the peace, happiness, eternal peace, eternal happiness. And it is our personal life also when we are trying different things. No, we don't find the eternal happiness. Find joy in success. And sometimes some of the projects that we have taken up, if it is successful, we are happy, but that goes for some time only. Again, we are thinking for something else. Then the thought came where we can get the permanent happiness. In that condition, when we are thinking in that way, then we came to know that if we withdraw our sense organs, in one word we can say withdraw our mind from the sense objects, then the peace. So that the journey started. But it is not an easy thing, because the God has given this thing and He has created the temptation. And we can understand temptation means the attractions and attachment to enjoy. This is God's created. Again, the God is teaching us, don't go over there. That is very peculiar. The first thing, why He created, we don't know. But anyway, that is His divine play, divine game. And He created those objects. He has created our sense organs. And He has created the attractions. And now He is telling, withdraw that. And here is the challenge. So sometimes we can think in this way that the teacher in our classrooms, he is teaching us the whole subject, and he is also telling us that these are the points you must remember, that this is very tricky point, otherwise you won't be able to answer properly. Then the same teacher who taught us, guided us, is making the question papers and taking the examination. And the same teacher sometimes saying us, oh, you are successful, and well, you have to try again in the next year. So this way it is, we can think that God has created out of His own images. He has detached Himself from us, and He has given us the ego so that we are separated from Him. Now He is teaching, remove the ego, come back to me. So that is the whole game. So what is spiritual life? Going back to the source. And sometimes people will say it is a God, it is Allah, it is Jehovah, it is Buddha, it is Bhagavan. But different names, same thing. What we will find over there? Eternal peace, eternal happiness, eternal joy, eternal. No change once we go over there. Now, this time, the same Lord who came in different time as Sri Ramachandra, as Sri Krishna, and recently as we were studying the Gospel of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, one of the direct disciples of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning to Thakur himself, I feel that Jesus, Chaitanya, and you are same. And he said, same, same, same. All are same. In different form, in different name, at different time, in different places, same power manifesting to cater the need of the local people at that time. So Jesus came one time and He taught in a different way. Now the Sri Ramakrishna and his challenges that he took up as an avatar is very hard. So what he did, he started an organization, he himself, and very wonderful way. He started asking the younger people to come and serve him, to stay with him, to get training from him. And constantly he used to tell them the futility about this worldly life. What you are going to do? This is nothing actually there. So they became monks. So we have the picture of these monastic disciples of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. So mostly they are there, and you will find the pictures are here. That is also, if you go over here after this class, if you come, you can see them. This is a monastic disciples. What they did? They didn't marry. They left their hearth and home, and they imbibed the teachings of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna and practiced it in their own life, and then started preaching it all over the world. Unless and until you are practicing, how can you preach? So that is Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. He made them the monks. And then also, to support these monks from the outside, he made that householder devotees. And some of you can recognize that is the Girish Chandra Ghosh, the great dramatist. That is the Girish Chandra Ghosh, and all the householder devotees. So they also understood that this world is temporary, But they have the responsibility because they were married, they had their other responsibilities. So they were practicing swadharma, as it is said in the Bhagavad Gita. As a householder, we have some responsibilities. We must practice that, we must follow that. And at the same time, inside, we should know this is all temporary. My son is good, but the son will grow up. Then again the grandson, that will also grow up. And we will become old. As my father and the grandfather, they passed away, we will also pass away. This whole circle will come before us, and we will understand these are all temporary. Nothing is going to be permanent. So I am not going to be attached, but I will perform my duties as best as possible in a perfect way. Only thing, I should not get attached to that. Sannyasis physically going out, and the disciples, the householder disciples, mentally they are detached, this much. So these two, along with them came the women devotees. These women devotees also of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. At the first, the Gaurima, she was very courageous. Friends, you have to imagine the pictures that you are seeing, these ladies, they are all, say, 18th century, 19th century beginning. At that time, particularly in India, the girls were not allowed to go to school. They were supposed to be behind the curtains. They were not supposed to be seen by anyone. That was the situation. At that time, these ladies are coming out. They are also practicing same type of meditation and the selfless work. And they are moving around, not only preaching and not only practicing, but also preaching. This Gauri Ma, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, in a very aphoristic way, he said, Gauri, I pour the water, you give the shape. That means when you are making that from the earth, from the lump of clay, you are giving the shape, you have to pour the water. Water means the philosophy, the idea, ideology. And you go and give the shape. So these are the founders of the women. Now, there is an organization that's called Sarada Mission, in the name of the Ma, Sarada Mani Devi, and highly educated ladies are also there. So Brahmavadini, then came the Patibrata. These are the words. There's a Sanskrit word. Brahmavadini means those who wish to practice the Brahma, only meditating. Then came, right from the Sita, at that age of Sri Ramachandra, Sattva Treta, the responsibility of the women changed. They became the housemakers, homemakers. And slowly, now in the present day, again they have to take up the responsibility of spreading the truth of religion. So Brahmavadini form they have to take. So this is the way Sri Ramakrishna. But if you are reading the biography of Sri Ramakrishna and the history of the Ramakrishna Mountain Mission, not that there is something very special Sri Ramakrishna is doing. In a very simple way he used to do. He will be visiting somebody's house and they will call all devotees over there. He will talk to them. As per the norms of those days, he will be meeting the male devotees at one time and all the female devotees will come separately. And then he will be talking with them. But there will be functions, programs. They will be visiting from Dakshineshwar to some other places. And in those days, they used to go by boat because of the Ganga. And in that boat, all of them, they will go together. So by this time, they know each other, they become familiar, and that mentality, oh, women should not come with us, automatically it goes away. They become sisters like. So they are all going together, becoming a bond. The sannyasinis, the monks and the nuns, giving them the protection from outside, all the householder devotees, they will be feeding them, supplying them other things, and this way it is going on. Friends, now we will go to another history where two things are happening. Ma Sharadamani Devi, quietly, she is sitting in one place and going on praying. And Swami Vivekananda, he is going out to see the condition of the India. This is called Paribrajaka. Paribrajaka means someone who is traveling, the traveler. So he is going on, and what he was carrying, only a water, we can say water bottle, and then the Bhagavad Gita, an imitation of Christ. Though he was a Hindu monk, but he appreciated these teachings of the Jesus Christ. The Imitation of Christ is a unique book. When I joined first, I read that book first. Very inspirational. So that was the long back, the monastics, the Christian monastics, they used to practice. And their austerity was so much that once the young people, they are coming to become monk and nuns, when they read that, they really get inspiration. So Vivekananda was always used to carry that. From 1886 to 1993, he was traveling the length and breadth of India. We'll be showing the maps one after another. So here the mother, so the picture that we have given, those who have read the biography of Ma Sharadamani Devi, you all know that she was traveling, and particularly Mahabodhi temple, the Bodh Gaya. Here, this is the place where Lord Buddha received the enlightenment. He became Buddha. Buddha means the one who is a knowledgeable one at this place. Then afterwards, a temple has come up, and lot of disciples. Ma Sharadamani Devi, when visiting that place, though Hindus, they always go there. I have also visited that. Because there is no difference between the Hinduism, Buddhism. We always respect. So we went over there, and mother, seeing that monastery, she was praying to the Sri Ramakrishna. They look at these people. They are also monks, but they have a place to stay. And the household disciples from outside, they are coming and helping them. And in exchange, they are also going on imbibing the spiritual spirit. Every day we are losing. Tomorrow we are going to celebrate, and I am going to give a talk on that resurrection of Jesus, because the Good Friday. So resurrection in everyday life. That Jesus was resurrected, that how in everyday life we can practice. So that will be the theme of the talk tomorrow morning. And here we find the mother is praying. After the mother's prayer, Swami Vivekananda visiting, and when he was visiting the India, so these are the places mainly he has visited. The northern part and the southern part and some places of the eastern part. And he visited most of the time walking. Can you imagine the huge country? The India is by size, it is almost like the whole Europe, only minus the Russian part. The whole of Europe will go inside the India. It is such a huge country. It's a subcontinent. And visiting these places, different type of languages, different type of culture, different type of food habit, different type of people, but they're all same because the sannyasins, they respect the sannyasins. So this is the way that we always think. Swami Vivekananda, why he was visiting these places? He wanted to have the first-hand experience of the people. Now, I am going to, Swami Vivekananda, he knew that this is his own new responsibility to establish dharma. Whom I am going to give the dharma? The dharma means the righteousness. Who is able to practice the righteousness? Suppose you are economically very weak. You will never think about all this righteousness. I need bread, I need food. And for that, anything I am ready to do. And if you go and say, don't tell lies and don't steal, that man will say, are you mad? I am hungry, I am dying. If necessary, I can snatch also. So we have to understand to whom I am going to give. That is Swami Vivekananda. He wanted to see the condition of India. India, as because Vivekananda, he was a great student of history, he knew what was the condition of India. India was really very rich, very, very rich. That's why a time was there when all Western countries and the other countries, they used to come to India, not only for the wealth, but also for knowledge. For in both, they were very successful. Now, naturally, that attracted the attention of the Western people. And in India, it was, from the beginning, we learned, Atiti Devo Bhava. Anyone coming, unknown, is it your God? So whoever is coming and standing before you, it is your God. We never doubted people. Even in our childhood days, we have seen, we never doubted people. So, this man, where from he has come, who is he? We never doubted. He has come, maybe we have to help them. So that was even at our time, and you can imagine at that time. So obviously, this Vivekananda and much, much older times, they saw all this. And what is now? What is the condition now? The Britishers, when they captured our country, what they did? Of course, we are not criticizing Britishers. That is the natural. When someone is capturing the other country, what they will do? They will first see that you are poor, and they will see that you are not educated. And so that they will first break the education system, and they will make you poor, then economical system, and automatically you are under the subjugation. A very well-off person and very the knowledgeable person, how can you control them? So from the point of view of the rulers, they were correct. But from the point of view of us, the Indians, that was a terrible time. So they were going on taking out the property, money, and in place they were going on injecting, teaching, you have nothing, you have nothing, you have nothing. So confidence, we lost confidence. Then they divided us. As a very, always they say, divide and rule, that is the policy of the Britishers. Wherever they go, they used to do like that, divide and rule. And what is the division? Still now in India, still we are going on. That first is the religious divisions. And then afterwards, linguistic divisions. And then the different social way, they will divide. So you become weak. So that way they used to rule us. Then finally, they divided the rich people, educated people, and from the poor people. So they completely, there was a big gap. The poor people, they used to use them just as slaves. So that is the way they used to have, and this we found that Vivekananda, when traveling, he became hard. He became very sorry. And he said, that is the wonderful way he expressed, lo, the descendants of the rishis have become next door neighbor to brutes. The descendant of the rishis. In India, each and every one, they used to go to the rishis' place and then get the education, and that was the culture. In Krishna, he went to study and he had to stay with his teacher, because that was the system. Sri Ramakrishna and his brothers, they also went over there to be a teacher. From 6 years to 16 years, you are supposed to be there under a teacher. So that was the system. Now they were the rishis, so good people, wonderful people. When they became next door neighbor to brutes, they became selfish, because there was nothing. When there is no food, what people will do? We have seen at the time of pandemic. In America, so disciplined people. But at the time of pandemic, even the people were grabbing the toilet papers. So they will go and take all the toilet papers. Then the shopkeepers came, intervened. You are not supposed to take all those things started happening. It is good that within 2 years everything has gone. The effect is still there because of the economy. It has broken because of that. So when the people are not having sufficient thing, what they will do? So they always go and try to snatch. We cannot say, oh, they are bad people. They don't have anything. What to do? So this Swamiji, when he saw, he cried out, lo, the descendants of the rishis have become next door neighbor to brutes. But when you are taking up a mission, and what the mission? You have to help the masses to rise. They are poor people. They have lost all confidence. There is no education. How you will help them? So he started visiting the kings, the Indian kings. So they were under the subjugation of the Britishers, but still they were retaining their kingdoms, and there were nearly 500 kingdoms in India at that time. So he visited some of the very special and important, and he went to Alwar. The king of Alwar was very much impressed by Swami Vivekananda. This Alwar king started supporting Swamiji. Then in different places of Rajasthan, Rajasthan is the central part of India, and this is very famous for the valor, because the people, they were very courageous. So this is the Rajasthan. And the king of Rajasthan, one of the kings, was the Ajit Singh of Khetri. So this is and Swami Vivekananda used to say that this is my friend, the Khetri king. In the northern side, he got these kings as his disciples and supporters. This Ajit Singh, he helped Swamiji in many, many different ways. You know that the turban that we see over there, that he is wearing, that is Ajit Singh gave him. The turban that he is wearing over that. And when he wore that turban and stood to deliver the speech at the Parliament of Religion, they were astounded because so wonderful. Recently, in February, I went to India and I was visiting January end and February. So I went to this place. Now the palace, the whole palace, they have donated to Ramakrishna Mission. And the palace, you show please? See, this is the palace. The huge palace. They have given to the Ramakrishna Mission. And now you see the statue of Swami Vivekananda there that we have installed after receiving the Ramakrishna Mission. And then renovated and all that. If you have any opportunity to visit Delhi, please visit this place, Khetri. It's only 3 hours drive from Delhi. Very good road. And they have the guest houses, guest rooms, you can stay there. And you can have the idea of Rajasthan, the place all desert and all that. It's a beautiful place. And they kept it so wonderfully, where Swamiji stayed, where Swamiji meditated, everything they have kept that way. And this is the place where Swamiji used to go and stay. This king was not having any issue, any son. So he was praying to the Swami. Then at the blessings of the Swamiji, he got a son, Ajit Singh's son. Afterwards, he also became a great devotee. And Ajit Singh became, naturally, because of the Swamiji, I have received my son, he wanted to give everything to Swamiji. Swamiji told, don't do that. You better look after your subjects. Give them education, health care and all that. And if necessary, I will ask you. Afterwards, Swamiji requested him to give 15 rupees to his mother, because his mother, she was the rich man's wife. She had the habit to feed people, poor people, to charity and all that. Now she was not having any income for whatever reason. Then told, give mother 15 rupees. In those days, 15 rupees was a sufficient amount. So Ajit Singh all through supported Vivekananda's mother. In this place, one thing happened that if you read, I'm just touching those points. If you read the biography of Swami Vivekananda, the unique things happened. The Ajit Singh was very happy that his guru, Swami Vivekananda, has come to visit his palace. So in those days, as it was, he invited one lady to sing. But the Swamis are not supposed to listen to the women's songs because those ladies were not of very good fame. So Swamiji came down to thinking that some program will be there. He saw that one lady is going to sing. Swamiji got up and said, no, I cannot. As a monk, I am not supposed to. Then when he was going back, that lady sang a beautiful bhajan that says, how come you are a monk, you are a sannyasi, and you should have the equal sight. How can you discriminate me as and this way and the other person in that way? Prabhu mere abaguna chitanadhara. That is the beautiful song. Maybe that I am having some bad qualities in me, but you are a monk. You are not supposed to see those things in me. Swami Vivekananda learned, and he said, I learned from her. I came back, sat over there, heard that song, memorized that song, and he sang himself in many places. So these are the traits of the great people. Now, afterwards, Swamiji went to the last rock of India. That is these are the places that he saw, and these are the people that he helped. Then in the last rock of India, he went. That is the Kanyakumari. There is a temple. When Swamiji was visiting, there was nothing. And those who have visited, there is a strait that you have to go by boat. Otherwise, it is impossible to go over there. Vivekananda was not having any money, but he was feeling an urge to go to a secluded place to sit and to plan for this rejuvenation of India. So he was thinking how to, and he swam across. Sharks are there, but he was a very strong personality and also physically strong. He was a boxer, He used to practice boxing when he was a student. So he swam across that, went over there without water, without food. 3 days and 3 nights he meditated, not on the God of the sky, but on the people of this earth, poor, downtrodden, illiterate, oppressed people. How to help them? Because it's the millions. Individually, you cannot go and help them. You have to do something so that they can rise on their own feet and help themselves. Now, sometimes we go and give some charity, we make them weak actually. That is all right, a little support for a day or two. But we have to give them inspiration, self-confidence, so that they stand on their own feet and earn for themselves. So that Vivekananda went over there and he started meditating. And this time, 2-3 things happened. And that in one place, he heard, very queer, he heard from the station master, a railway station master, from him about parliamentary religion. That was the programs were going on, planning was going on in the Chicago in 1893 parliamentary religion. He heard about it from a station master. In those days, the newspaper and the media, it was very rare. So he heard from him. And then he got some of the devotees in the South India. They urged him, because in the South India, there was a newspaper called Hindu. So these are the people who supported Swamiji, inspired Swamiji, and requested Swamiji to go to India. 2-3 things happened. First, Hindu, that newspaper, published about the parliamentary religion. And of all the religions, Hinduism was absent. There was no representation. Why? That no one knew English. Because the Indian Swamis will never say English. They will be only, in those days, it was a taboo to speak in English. You should speak either in Sanskrit or in your mother tongue. But not English. It's a foreign language, so you should not. It was only Vivekananda. Because he grew up in the school and the colleges and learned wonderful English, and he was very fluent. So these people said, Swami, you are the only monk in the whole India who can speak English. The great command over the Hinduism, you must be the representative of the Hindus. But they were not knowing what are the paraphernalia, what are the system to represent. They simply said, you must go. And they thought, as Vivekananda, for them, he was a very wonderful personality was there, so the Swamiji will go and he will impress everyone. But no paper, no nothing was there, where to go, whom to go, they knew nothing. The Bhaskar Shetupati, the Raja of Ramnath, he also helped. So if we notice the Raja of Ramnath, he is the king of the south, southern India. Khetri, the king of the northern India. And another, he was the king of the western India. And ordinary people, the whole India as if they were supporting Swamiji to go over there. And Swamiji, he came to first time to the West. He is coming. Raja of Khetri, he gave money, he gave the dress, and he also purchased the ticket in the ship. And from there, from Bombay, he started, and changing the ship, he came to the Canada, Vancouver, and from Vancouver, he started journey in a train, and from next changing the train, he came to Chicago. Now imagine, a 29 young person, never ever heard about America, and coming to America, he was not knowing actually where I am going, where I will stay, what food I will eat, what are the people I am going to meet, nothing. This is called courage. And this is called the spiritual ministry. They go in such a way, the God is with me. Great faith. The God is with me. Nothing bad is going to happen to me. With that faith, he crossed that whole path and he came to America for the first time. And there he attained the Parliament of Religion. Friends, we have a book over here. If you are interested, someday you can read this book. It is available. We published this book, Chicago and Vivekananda. Here you will find all the people, how they helped Swami Vivekananda, one after another. Now the Hilton Hotel that you see, that was the house of Mr. and Mrs. Lyon. Mr. and Mrs. Lyon, Lyon. They were there. This is the Mr. and Mrs. Lyon. They asked Swamiji to stay over there, and they now present the Hilton Hotel. Then you can imagine this huge area. And in their house, Swamiji used to stay. Not this house. They had a separate, that in those days. He used to stay and attain the Parliament of Religion. And he used to sometimes walk, and sometimes in Phaeton he will be going and attending the 11 days program in the Parliament of Religion. That is our, what is called, that hall, the famous hall, Fullerton Hall. Fullerton Hall, but that is called the Art Institute. At the Michigan, the Art Institute, that was the main. And the hall is now named as Fullerton Hall. That was a different name. This Mr. and Mrs. Lyon, the first person who came to help Swamiji was the Mr. and Mrs. Hell. This, if you can see, it is I don't know, Mr. and Mrs. George W. Hell. So, I'm sorry we couldn't make this. We should have made the pictures over here, but the boy who was preparing, he was busy, he couldn't do it. So this is the Mr. and Mrs. and they had 4 daughters and 2 nieces. These 4 ladies, they used to help Swami Vivekananda, because Vivekananda was not knowing how to put on the coat, the Western coat, how to lace the shoe in the Western way, and the bow and the tie. So these 2 young 4 ladies, they used to teach him all the time. And he was not knowing how to count the money. So which money and what. And wherever he will go, give the talk, they will give the money. He will bring the money like this and give it to on the lap of the mother, that is Mrs. Hell. And he used to call them Father Pope, Mother Church. Father Pope, Mother Church. He used to say like that. And he used to give the money. They used to keep his money, and they used to collect also the donation for his work. One day Vivekananda said, I am in temptation. So they were taken aback. What happened to you? Then sarcastically and jokingly they were asking, who is that lady? Well, it's not lady. It is an organization. I am dreaming that I should have an organization. Unless and until I have the organization, I won't be able to give a permanent effect. So we must have to have the organization. Hindus were not having that organizations. They were all individual. Right from the Vedic age all through, they were all individuals. And it is only Swami Vivekananda who started thinking about an organization. And visiting, I am not going in details, because mostly you all know, he gave the lecture in the Parliament of Religion, and when he was going over there, before that, when the first time he came to Chicago, he saw almost 1 month before he has reached. It was in September, and he reached over here in August, July, August. And he was thinking, oh my God, this is a so costly place. And what little money that I am having is regularly, I am spending, and what will happen to me? Look at it, how the God's thing work. When he was traveling from Canada, he met a lady, Miss Sanborn, and she took fancy seeing the feature of Vivekananda like a bronze statue, that she liked him. He said, sir, if you ever need any help, please come to my house. She gave the address and her name. Swamiji remembered that, and he went to Annisquam near the Boston city. The Annisquam, I visited that Annisquam, still same like the wonderful village, the Annisquam, the picturesque by the side of a river. Swamiji went to her, and she told, you can stay and I will give you the food. Only request, I will invite my neighbors and friends and relatives to meet you, because we have never seen a person like you. An Indian speaking English, that is something very unique for them. Swamiji told, no problem. By that way, through her brother, who was a famous professor, he met him. And that is not over here, so those pictures I am not showing. The Professor John Wright of the Harvard University. So he was very much interested in Sanskrit and Indology. So he came to meet Swami Vivekananda. And they used to discuss. They kept Swami Vivekananda in a women's hostel, but the hostel was empty. So one room they got, and not much of cost. So that lady Sanborn used to pay for that. Vivekananda was there. And the professor, John Wright, used to come. They will be sitting and discussing. Still all those places are there. If you are interested, you can one day go and see how things happen. John Wright was so much impressed. He wrote a beautiful letter addressing some of the authority of the Parliament of Religion, that here is a man, if we ask credentials from him to speak about spirituality, it will be like asking the sun, what is its credentiality to give the light? It is his birthright. He is so knowledgeable that all the professors of our university put together is a... So that is the way he was introducing Vivekananda. He gave the address. Vivekananda once again, with all the baggages, by that time he had a lot of baggages and heavy coat, and he was not accustomed to wear all those. And he lost that later, misplaced actually. He came, landed once again in the Dearborn station, and he was walking through this path. Then he went to this place of Mr. and Mrs. Hell. Exactly opposite to that, there was a church. Walking for the whole day, without food, without water, and carrying that heavy load. So he got exhausted. And then he was thinking, the cool breeze started. Whole night I will be outside, and I am going to die tonight. So let me go and sit someplace and meditate. We can imagine that he was having an internal fight with his master, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. If you wanted to kill me, why have you brought me so far? I am not going to do anything, any help. You called me to come to this country. I came, and now there is nothing. And this night I am going to die. And he saw a church. He thought, this is a holy place. Let me go and sit on the steps of the church. Still it is there. If you can go on those steps, Vivekananda sat. In America, usually the unknown person sitting near the houses, they will be immediately calling the police or send out the people to why this man is sitting over here. But instead, miracles started. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna never wanted that. With the introductory letter of Professor John Wright, Vivekananda should go to the parliament. That's why he misplaced that letter. But now this lady and the Mrs. Hell, she came for some work, maybe to close the window, and she saw the gentleman sitting over there, and she saw as if some aura is coming out. And she was so much attracted. She opened the door, crossed the road, came to Vivekananda and asked, "Sir, are you a representative of the Parliament of Religion?" Because Parliament was there. So, "Yes, Mother, but I don't have any credentiality. I don't know what will happen to me." She said, "My husband is a very influential man. So please come, I will introduce you with him." He went, next day morning, they met, they talked. Can you imagine? Two Americans taking a person of 29 years, young man, Indian, completely unknown. They never knew about India. But they became so much attached to that young boy and their affection as a parents for him. They took him to different places, different people to introduce. And they introduced Swami Vivekananda with so many officers. But all they say, "We are sorry." 11th September was supposed to be the Parliament of Religion. And it was 10th September. Can you imagine? So naturally they said, everything is final. Where we will put his name and how we can adjust the timing. But somehow that evening there was a dinner party in the house of the President of the Parliament of Religion, and Mr. and Mrs. Hell took Vivekananda and requested him, "You don't have any representative of the Hinduism, and here is a person, and he is really an authentic person, and he can give a wonderful explanation about Hinduism. Why don't you include him, at least for 5 minutes? 5 minutes were given. And he saw that 5 minutes, first time in the morning when he got the call to speak, he was seeing 7,000 best Americans and Europeans. And it was the first time he was meeting so many people together. He was afraid. Vivekananda himself told, "My throat was parched. I couldn't even speak a word. Then I was going on praying to the Devi Saraswati, the goddess of learning. Please help me. This is the only opportunity for me to help my country and millions of my countrymen. Please help me." Second call came after the lunch break. Third call. Then one person was sitting by his side, maybe a Jewish representative, he whispered, "Young man, this is the last call. Don't say no. You better go and say whatever you like to say." So that was the last call. Vivekananda went without any preparation. Everyone was with preparation. They had their lectures written. They read those papers. Here Vivekananda went and gave the talk. No Indian can forget that talk. Even today, the young children of the Indian communities, they'll be memorizing that address. And if you go to India, and if you say which country in the world you know, they will say America. And if you ask which city of America you know, they will say Chicago. Why? Because Vivekananda. This Chicago is so popular over there. Even today, when I go to India, I get more attention because from Chicago. So this is, and he traveled extensively, and 1897 he returned to India, and May 1st, 1897, he founded the Ramakrishna mission. This is the gentleman, see, so humble, but he was a landlord. And his name, he was the direct disciple of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, and he was a landlord, and this is the house he has donated to Ramakrishna mission. It's a big house. The landlord's house he can understand, and in the Bagbaja street, and that is now known as Balaram Mandir. Mandir means the temple. So here, on 1st May 1897, Swami Vivekananda addressed the monks and the lay devotees, and they formed the Ramakrishna mission. This is the symbol of the Ramakrishna mission. Swami Vivekananda himself, he drew it. The uniqueness of this, if you see the snake all around, that symbolizes the yoga. The Hinduism is nothing but symbolization. So much of symbols everywhere. So you have to understand the meaning of it. This snake is the symbol of yoga. The rising sun in the center you see, that is the symbol of knowledge. Wavy water is a symbol of work. And the lotus floating, that is the symbol of devotion. If all the four comes together, if you practice all the four together, sometime you will find a yogi, he practices only meditation. Sometimes you will find the jnani, he is only discriminating and analyzing and doing nothing else. Sometimes the devotees only going on singing and worshipping God. Vivekananda gave all the four combined together, and this is the combined way of the Ramakrishna mission. So what is the ideology that we follow, the path we follow? Ramakrishna mission, Vedanta society, these four. In the morning, if you go and sit in the temple, you are meditating. You are a yogi. Next, you are chanting, praying, singing the bhajans, you are a devotee. And then you are getting up and working for the betterment of the society, you are a karmi, that is water. And also, you are studying the scripture, analyzing and constantly thinking, I am not this body, I am the soul, I am the pure Atman, I am free. So that is the Ramakrishna mission. And the next you please show. And the Ramakrishna mission, this is the symbol, this is the way, the combination of the all four paths. And in one place, it is the Ma Sharada Mani Devi, and in another, it is the Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. They are our ideologies, they are our inspirations. And below you see the three different groups, that the two devotees, women and men devotees, and for householders, supporting the main, that is the sannyasins, sitting in the center. Now up to this, and next we will discuss about how they work, Ramakrishna Mission work, what are the resolutions that was taken in the meeting. Thank you, friends. Now if you have any questions about this, we can, or we will conclude over here by repeating Shanti 3 times. Okay. So we will say Shanti 3 times and we conclude. Om Shanti. 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 Harihi Om. We will now, this hall, we call it as the hall of consciousness. So different religious leaders, they are coming over here. Every month, second Saturday, I give a talk on Vedanta. Now I am giving the talk on the organization. And every month, Saturday, 4 to 5, from different religious groups, they will come and they will discuss different religious, the paths. This is really unique. You will never find other churches, other mosques, other gurudwaras, they are inviting others to speak over there. But here in Vedanta society, we always do that. Why you know? Because Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he symbolizes all religions. If you go outside, there also you will find all the symbols of different religions. All are welcome. So this is the way we like to go. It is not that we are mingling up, no. All paths are leading to the same goal. And we can give an example. The goal is the ocean. And different rivers from different places generating, and in a different way they are coming, mixing in the ocean, making that ocean huge. And that ocean is known as spirituality. That ocean known as the spirituality. And the paths, those rivers, are religions. The different religions, but the goal is the same. Now we will request you to go down to our another hall, the Naimisharanya, I have given the name. That is a place which is always pure. Why? Because it is in the Hindu mythology, the Lord Vishnu is constantly looking to that particular place. Naimisharanya, there is a place in India, that it is believed that the Lord is constantly looking to that place and no bad will happen, over. So please come to our Naimisharanya hall and no bad will happen to you, rather you will get coffee.